Now we know that's not true. It is 6 p.m. And now we don't have echo in the chamber. So we're going to begin the September 8th council meeting, and I ask everybody to stand for the playing of Old Canada. Please be seated. We will begin with our land acknowledgement. With gratitude, the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands acknowledges these lands and waters are the traditional territory of the Algonquin, Mississaugas, Mohawk, and Huron-Wendat. To recognize the role the township must play in truth and reconciliation, we also acknowledge the displacement of these peoples. Additionally, the township would like to respectfully acknowledge the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples who also call this place home. We make this land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous ancestors who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorial. Moving with the next item on the agenda, which is number 4, the adoption of the agenda, and the motion comes forward from Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey, that the agenda be adopted as circulated. Any comments, questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Number 5, declaration of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare at tonight's meeting? I have no hands up. So number 6 is closed session, and the motion comes from Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council resolve itself into committee of the whole closed meeting to consider the following items: a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, landfill, CAS lands. Number 2, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, appointment of acting chief administrative officer, approval of the July 14th, 2025 committee of the whole meeting, closed meeting minutes. Motions on the floor? Seeing no hands up, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. So we thank everyone for being here in the gallery. We'll try to be as brief and concise as possible, and we'll return once we are finished our closed meeting deliberations. Thank you. Thank you for your patience, folks. Our apologies for the length of time. Just waiting for one of the counselors to come back, and then we will report out from enclosed. So council met in closed session to discuss the items under the closed session 1, 2, and 3. So closed minutes were approved. And number 1 was the proposed or pending acquisition of lands. So I need a mover and a seconder that council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement of purchase and sale on behalf of the corporation in the amount of $3,000 for the containment attenuation zone, CAS lands located part lot 12, concession 3, being a part of PIN 4420-0173. That council authorize mayor and clerk to execute all necessary documents to complete the purchase. So I need a mover and a seconder. So maybe and Kelman. Okay, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is that council and authorizes the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement of purchase and sale on the behalf of the corporation in the amount of $30,000 for the containment attenuation zones CAS lands located at part lot 11, concession 3, being a part of PIN 44240-0169 and further described as part 1 on plan 28R16121, and that the council authorizes the mayor and clerk to execute all necessary documents to complete the purchase. Mover and a seconder. Maybe Kelman. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And in regards to the personnel matters, council provided direction to the mayor, and I shall report back in further closed session at a later date. Next item moved by Councillor Kelman and seconded by Councillor Lackey, that the July 14th, 2025 council meeting minutes and the September 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting minutes and September 2nd, 2025 special council meeting minutes be adopted as circulated. Any errors or omissions in those minutes? I have no hands up, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Next item is moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council approve the staff reports as recommended at the September 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. So there are a number of staff reports there, 12.1 through 12.4. Any additional comments or questions in regards to those items under staff reports? Have no hands up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Thank you. Next item, action required items. Moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with BMA Management Consulting to conduct a water and wastewater rate review as well as updated water and wastewater financial plans as required under OREG 453/07. Motions on the floor. This is a pretty standard housekeeping item that comes up every 5-10 years, I believe. Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is request for proposal FIN 2025-002 External Auditor Award. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement with KPMG LLP to provide external audit services for a term of up to 5 years commencing with the 2025 year-end audit. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is feasibility study for landfill reclamation at the historical Big Hill and Red Horse Lake Road waste disposal sites. Moved by Counselor Kelman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fode, that council receive the preliminary excavation option analysis for reclamation of at the historical Big Hill Road and Red Horse Lake Road waste disposal sites as attached to Operations and Infrastructure Report 2025-039, and that council directs staff to include the required funds in the proposed 2026 capital budget to proceed with option 1 landfill reclamation as identified in Operations and Infrastructure Report 2025-039. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Lackey.
Thank you, and through you, your worship, to our director. We had some conversations quite a few years ago now, I think, or it seemed that long. There were some other potential landfills on the list. Have these been the only ones identified, or are there more to come that we know of?
Thank you, through your worship. To date, these are the only two that we're aware of. We have been contacted by MECP about a third property, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. When we did our tour in 2022, I believe, I think there were about 7 on the list, and 2 were the result of that. So we're uncertain at this time if there are any more, but these are the ones that we are currently aware of.
So I know a lot of this stems from amalgamation and loss of records and that type of thing. But what's the average price for what we're doing? I know they're two different. You got Big Hill and you've got Red Horse. So what are we looking at as far as yearly operational costs once we finish tonight?
Thank you. So there are 2 options with this. So tonight all that council is doing is receiving this report. I brought a report previously in the spring for Lansdowne. This is for the FCM grant. In order for us to finalize that and get the grant money, we have to receive this report and then provide the report through to FCM. So that's the purpose of tonight. But with the findings that we have with this report, there are 2 options moving forward. One is to acquire the land and then treat it as a closed waste site, similar to some of our other closed waste sites, where we have to do monitoring yearly and we have to maintain the mantle, make sure that we don't have trees growing through it, make sure that it's sealed and contained so that we don't have any effluent. And the second option is to go in and fully remove the waste completely and make it a clean site. So if we're to do the first step, the first option, or in the report, it's the second option of maintaining it as a landfill, we'd first have to go in and acquire the land from the property owners. We'd have to update the ECA in order for us to be able to go in and do the work that needs to be done out there, because there is some material that does have to be moved out of there already. And then from there, we introduce a monitoring program, the same as what we do with all of our other sites. And I think the estimate for that was about $15,000 per year per site to maintain that.
Through your graph, your graph shows
exactly.
the 2. One is the first year is the high number, but very low after that, and then your other one is medium with long term.
That's correct. So with the removal of the waste, obviously the capital cost up front is more expensive. I think we're $490,000, what we said in the report, for the 2 sites combined. But the monitoring after that, it would be very minimal monitoring for likely 10 years is what they'll, just for background information. And then once we've satisfied that requirement, then it's considered a clean site. We don't have to do anything after that. Whereas if we were to maintain it as a landfill, like I said, we'd have to buy the land, we'd have to do the maintenance of the site itself, and then also do the annual monitoring forever.
Satisfied with the questions? Okay. I have Councillor Antoine Hartley, and then I have Councillor Maybe. Oh, your microphone isn't on? Sorry.
I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
my apologies.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Through
Start
you.
again.
Through you, Chair. So it's kind of a no-brainer in that we either pay now a bit more, and for 10 years monitor, if I'm reading this correctly. And there's no restrictions after that at all to the area around it. But if we go with option 2, we're paying forever. Is that what I'm, okay. Okay.
That is correct.
And in option 2 as well, and option 1, everything's gone. It's not either been recycled or taken to another dump or whatever. But in option 2, there's still toxic dump stuff leaching into our environment. Is that correct?
With option 2, there would be that potential, yes.
Okay, so then that brings me to a concern. Because even with disturbing that dump, with the toxic debris, Ducks Unlimited are close by there, right beside it, actually, have a pond there. And there's actually a creek that goes under Barrington Road to South Lake. With the monitoring, how much monitoring is going to be done of South Lake and the water quality there? Is that part of what they'll be doing in the monitoring? Go ahead.
Through your worship. So with the monitoring program, you find the outer limits of where contamination would be. You start at the site. And if you find that there's contamination at the edge of the site, then you look beyond the site and you find the limits of that. And that's when we acquire CAS lands to make sure that we've accounted for all of that potential. And it's very stringent what we have to test for. We're testing for PFAS, which is even more stringent than what it was historically. And we have a requirement in our annual reports that we provide to the ministry to report the findings of all of that to them. And the ministry reviews it and then gives us feedback as well. So if there was something that was beyond the limits of the waste site, then we would look beyond that at that point. And if we found that we'd come to the limits, then that would be where we would monitor to. And, as we do our annual monitoring, if we find that it exceeds those boundaries, then we would have to move beyond that as well. And that would be regulated by the ministry.
If I can follow up, water, however, would probably move beyond those barriers, I guess. So what would be, as I said, is there going to be monitoring put into a place for South Lake?
There's surface monitoring that happens around the dumps as well
Right.
as underground. So
Right.
if there was a concern, please correct me if I'm wrong, Director Holliday. If there was a challenge with that surface water, MECP would step in at
Okay.
that point, correct?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so while I appreciate that South Lake residents are concerned where that might
Yep.
go, that's the whole reason the monitoring happens to begin with. But the hope is, depending on which way council votes tonight, that a lot of that would be taken out of consideration, because if we remediate the site, then it reduces risks in the future.
I was just concerned about when we get digging around in some of that debris,
Well,
how much of it will move on.
and they would be licensed contractors to do this, whoever does this work, correct, Director Holliday?
Okay.
As far as like contractors that are used to doing this kind of remediation work.
Yes, this would be overseen by the ministry. It would be an approved work plan that we would have and provide to them.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Councillor Maybe, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Yeah, any work like this, they have containment fields that they actually put up to maintain the site so that there is no spillage from what they're doing. But option 1 is the best because it does remove all the waste from the site. It helps clean up the water in the future, even in the near future, and then in the future of that. My one question is there a contingency plan if they find something which has not been found through the engineer's report thus far to Director Holliday?
Through your worship. So at this point, we're at the preliminary stage. So we would, in order for us to go in and be able to do this type of project, we'd have to get approval through the ministry. So they'd want to know background, they'd want to know what we're up against. We'd have to do some test holes, et cetera, before we proceeded with any removal. And it does require an update to the ECA. So as these are closed sites, we can't remove anything or put anything on site. We have to get approval from the ministry to be able to do that. So that means we go back and we open up the what was called the C of A at the time. We open up the C of A and we have to go through that approval process once again with the ministry. So it's a fully encompassing process that we have to go through in order to ensure we know what we're up against at that time.
So a larger engineer's report will be forthcoming to actually tell us what's there, how much they think, and what they found, for the most part. So the contingency fund may not be necessary, but
Potentially, yes.
Deputy Mayor Fode, go ahead.
Thank you, Worship, and through you. When we discussed this a year ago or so, all we're really doing with option one is setting ourselves up to apply for grant money. And is there still at least one company interested in mining the metals that come out of there? Or do we know that yet?
Through your worship, the project that we engaged a contractor on before was preliminary. The type of project that we're looking at now is really an excavation project. So as long as they have their ministry approvals with their equipment, then this is open to a lot more contractors than what we did previously, because it's not the same sort of documentation and trying to figure out what it is that's in there. This is full removal, and so sorting and full removal, and I think this would be opened up to more contractors to be able to bid on this.
But neither one of these, if I may, thank you. Neither one of these sites are very big as far as what we see now on waste sites. These are relatively quite small, right?
That is correct. They are.
So it won't take long to make either one of them disappear.
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have Councillor Kelman.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. I just had a question because these are on private property. What is the jurisdiction? So if for whatever reason, the landowner were to say, we don't want you to disturbing it, can the ministry override that? Can the municipality override that and say, no, we are coming in to clean it up?
Your worship, the ministry can place orders on us to do that. We're in a position where we have to do something. And obviously they're supportive for full removal, because that means that there's no environmental potential, hazard potential that exists at that point. So they're supportive of this. We've met with the approvals agency, with the head of approvals with MOE, and they seem very supportive of this process and getting it out of there. We would have to enter into access agreement with the property owners, and we've dealt with one already, and they seem receptive to that idea, because it does open up the opportunity for future development on their property, as well as adjacent properties. Because when you have a landfill, and Marnie will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the buffer around that you can't build is 500 meters. So that removes that buffer requirement where they're able to build on that property. So it's beneficial for the property owner as much as it is for the municipality.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call a question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is 13.4, OPS 2025-25, structural repair to the municipal facility, moved by Councillor Lackey, seconded by Councillor Kelman. The council approved the award of tender OPS 2025-025 for the structural repair to the Township Municipal Office to Competitive Renovations, Inc. in the amount of $69,196.80, inclusive of the net HST. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead.
thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. When looking at the bids again, it was quite a comparison from roughly 70,000 to 176,000 to the highest. So I was just wondering whether, and I know that there is a process to actually ensure that the bids process is correct. Can you take us down that road just a little bit more? Why there's maybe $100,000 difference?
Yes, I
Possibly.
wouldn't be sure as to why Richard Steele would have been drastically more there. They have their own internal processes of quoting as everyone else. We did have 5 that were on the bidding and only 3 did submit. And And that was the results. I didn't inquire any further as to why they were extremely high, but the two were comparable that were at the low.
And just as a follow-up, then you feel confident that that lower bid will do all the work that is required on the building then?
I did estimate in around that bracket for what this project would be worth. So they are in the ballpark of what it should be
Okay.
in the cost.
Excellent. Thank you.
Go ahead.
And we have worked with the low bidder previously. They did some work at one of our fire halls, and we were satisfied that the result of the work that
Quality
they
of
did
work
for
was
us.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fode.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. Is this a repair or a fix, or is this a permanent repair when finished?
This should be a permanent repair to the exterior structure. There is some internal damage involved as well that will be remediated, but this should repair the shell that was started, I believe, in 2018 with the other repairs to the outside. So this is the final stage underneath the windows that was not completed in the past.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item is RFP-OPS-2025-023 Supply, Deliver, Install, Place Structure, Jerry Park. Motion comes forward from Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Lackey. Council approve the award of contract to New World Park Solutions, Inc. for RFP-OPS-2025-023 Supply, Delivery, and Installation of the Jerry Park Play Structure in the amount of $142,014.22, inclusive of the net HST. Motion is on the floor. I just would like to make a comment before taking any questions. There's an inquiry online today in regards to some land work that was happening around here. And the inquiry was, well, it would be really nice to have a new play structure. That's what's on the, nobody could respond to that until after tonight's discussion. But anyways, go ahead. So I have Councillor Kelman and then Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I just, one comment, I'm always very happy to see in a new play structure, the accessibility component to it. And I do have two small questions. Do we have an installation timeline? Will it be going in this fall? And what kind of playground surface are we going to be putting underneath the structures?
Through your worship, installation is to be completed late November, early December of this fall, and the interim play surface will be sand again, and the plan is to budget in 2026 for a fully accessible soft surface to go in at that park as well. So,
Councillor Maybe, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you. Yeah, my question was the ground cover, whether it was going to be processed wood chips, because sometimes that's used and then changed out at sometimes, and they cause their own troubles. Yes, I know. So that's why in the picture it looked like it was that, and that's why I was kind of going, what is it? So you're going for the soft surface, which is the basically rubberized type surface, that which does have a lifespan. So in our asset management, that will have a renewal plan well before it needs to be replaced, I hope. Thank you.
Okay, Deputy Mayor, go ahead. And then Councillor Grow.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Your Worship, through you. The pictorial that accompanied this presentation to us on our council agenda, is that the actual structure or just a similar expectation of what might show up?
that is the actual structure. I do have a fly-through video of the actual area as well that I can share, that I have ready as well.
Okay, I'll just take Councillor Garrell's comment and question, and then we'll go to the pictorial, whatever you want to share, however you want to do that. Go ahead.
And thank you through you, Your Worship. Having privately purchased from one of these companies that's listed here in the past, I know that although the representation was from Ontario, the product I bought was manufactured in Pennsylvania. So my question would be, is this a Canadian company and is that manufactured in Canada, which would be a wonderful thing at this time in history? Thank you.
Yes, they are a Canadian entity, and I do believe that majority of their product is Canadian based. Most of the submittals were as well Canadian based products.
The companies are, but I know from experience that one of those companies, I got a lovely thing for almost $3,000 manufactured in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We would have to inquire to find that out.
Is that something council would appreciate?
So do you want to share your screen? There we go. It won't play. That's a
While
disappointment.
we're
I'm sure.
waiting, can I ask, would it be possible if we wanted to find out more information about where this is actually manufactured? Is it appropriate to defer?
So the challenge is I understand why you're asking the question, but we, as part of the tender package, I don't think we required it to be
Mhm.
Canadian based, so I don't think we could we'd
Pulling the rug out.
However, it brings up a good point that when we are tendering for other products in the future, perhaps that is something that we could say that we would give additional points in the scoring system for stuff that is manufactured and created here in Canada. I think that's what it wasn't in the tender, so we can't really disqualify them for it. So. Well, we'll find out regardless, but we can't utilize that to delay whether we award the tender or not. Well, it's very disappointing we can't see the video. It was very exciting there for a minute. Deputy Mayor Foti, you had something to say?
Thank you, Worship, through you. Just a question. Some of the higher end horse arenas are putting in a rubber/sand mixture. I've seen it. It's pretty impressive. Is that something, or do we know? Is this installed in children's playgrounds at all? Or do we know the answer to that?
Sorry, you were referring to like a rubberized sand? Or
No,
Mixture.
the sand is mixed with rubber, literally.
Okay.
The rubber comes in big totes and it's put in on a whatever equation, 1-to-1. And when it's in the arena, the reason it's in there, twofold. The horse people tell me they don't worry about bacteria too much, but it pretty much nullifies that. And but it's the cushioning effect. It's noticeably different. As we all know, sand can get packed and feel like this top here in front of us, but with this rubber compound mixed in on X number of inches deep, it always has a cushioning effect.
What we're looking to do is a fully accessible rubberized surface that has cushion underneath it. So
Okay.
it would be with anything with sand, you're limiting what can access through that surface. So the first phase we didn't include in the budget to do the surface in 2025. So we're doing the prep work when we are doing the structure to ensure that we're able to develop that surface for next year.
Follow-up?
And thank you. A follow-up. What type of warranty comes with playground equipment?
In their tender package, there's multiple layers of different components up to lifetime to down to a 3-year service agreement. And there's also follow-up with warranty on parts and service. Also support for training and such like that are in the package. But different components have different warranty lengths on moving parts and welds and structural steel and plastics and things. It's a list of probably 25 different
Okay,
degrees.
thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Next item is Community Hall Standardization, Risk Reduction, and Service Level Maintenance. Moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley. Council authorized funds in the amount of $25,500 from Special Project Reserve Fund to be used to complete required appliance replacements and repairs to the community halls to reduce the public health risk and increase the base level of service. Discussion on this motion? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, what would be an expectation for all of these to be completed time-wise?
The expectation for the tier ones that we've listed here, I would assume with the availability of all the equipment, 90 days to 120 days minimum or maximum, sorry. The plan is to close this out before the new year.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Very pleased that the staff members took this issue and ran with it as quickly as they could when they received notice of the sharps being found in our communities. And it's an unfortunate reality for us nowadays that we have to take this into consideration, but I'm also glad that we're training our staff to learn how to deal with this challenge, which is becoming more prevalent in all of our communities, not just this township. So next item is staff appointment bylaws, moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that council gives first and second reading to bylaw number 2025-041, being a bylaw to appoint Marnie Venditti as acting chief administrative officer, and that council gives first and second reading to bylaw 2025-042, being a bylaw to appoint Marnie Venditti as deputy clerk, that the council gives first and second reading to bylaw number 2025-043, being a bylaw to appoint Marnie Venditti as an alternate lottery licensing officer for the township, and that the council gives first and second reading to bylaw 2025-044, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2025-014, screening and hearing officer bylaw to appoint the director of corporate services / treasurer and municipal clerk as screening officers. Motions on the floor. Go ahead, Councillor Lackey.
I was just looking for that small amendment where the second paragraph for the deputy clerk, where it would say in the absence of the clerk,
So
only
is the
in
first
the
section
absence of the clerk.
to appoint Marnie Venditti as separate only in the absence of the clerk. Okay. Okay, so Lackey is making the amendment, Corral is seconding. Okay, so so there's an amendment on the floor at the end of the second paragraph. It would have the addendum only in the absence of the clerk, and so that amendment is up for discussion. Anybody have any? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you, would that not be a foregone conclusion? The clerk would be signing anything if that
She was here.
individual is present.
Go ahead.
As acting CAO and deputy clerk, I believe the CAO would hold a higher.
Meaning, oh, you're saying that she would be the first signer if she decided to go over top of the clerk.
Correct.
That's
That's
what
what we're
you're
trying to avoid.
Okay, so the clerk would be the first signer, she would be deputy.
But that's my point. It says,
But
acting.
I think this is just saying that only in
Right.
the absence of the
Okay,
clerk.
right.
Any further comments or questions in regards to the amendment? We'll vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment? All those opposed? And it is carried. So I'm not going to read all of this again, other than to say that, and I'll read the second paragraph, that council gives first and second reading to bylaw 2025-042, being a bylaw to appoint Marnie Venditti as deputy clerk only in the absence of the clerk. And so that's how the second paragraph reads. Councillor Garrell, that's the amended. Okay, go ahead.
Then, in reference to, toward the end of the meeting, bylaw number,
We'll have to
20
change that.
at that time, or?
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Great. Okay, any further discussion on the amended motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Okay, next item, application for alteration under the Ontario Heritage Act, 1084 Prince Street, assessment roll number 0812-812-03011, sorry, 161000000. Moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody. Council approved the application under the Ontario Heritage Act for the alteration to a Part 4 designated heritage property municipally known as 1084 Prince Street, per details and specifications in the submitted application dated August 2025, prepared by MNV Laterno as follows: scrape and paint rear windows, repair wooden sills, replace broken glass in the north side window, repair front step and repaint in gray, replace small rear window with air conditioner. Discussion on the motion. No hands up, so I will call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed, and it is carried. Next item. Excuse me. Request to extend draft plan of subdivision approval, Greens Electric Plumbing and Heating Limited. Moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody. The council will support the request as proposed for a 1-year extension of draft plan of subdivision approval submitted by Foten Consultants, Inc. on behalf of Greens Electric Plumbing and Heating Limited under United Counties of Leeds and Grenville, file number 08T92002. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Royal, then Councillor Lackey.
Just through you, your worship, housekeeping. Was this extended a year or so ago by this council? Or is that another project I'm mixing up?
Thank you, through you. This has been extended a couple of times by this council.
Can we do that? Can we infinitely?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you.
And the basis of the extension is that work is continuing to happen? Okay.
That's correct. Some of the environmental studies and other studies like that take multiple seasons to do, and with consultants, it's difficult to retain as they are these days. It makes sense.
Okay, Councillor Lackey, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through to you. I should know the answer to this because it's come more than a couple of times. And in the 16 years I've been here, or 70, whatever it is there a fee associated every time they reapply?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
It's minimal, but there is.
Okay.
Any further, Deputy Mayor Fody, then Councillor Maybe, then Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you. So there has been the follow-up to the acting CAO. There has been verifiable work since the last ask for extension till now.
Through you, based on the letter we've received from the consultants indicating that there has been work progressing on this, yes. I have also followed up with the county as the approval authority to ensure that they have no concerns with this, and they've indicated that they are satisfied that there is work progressing.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Yes, as the report, it did indicate by the that there's a lot of things that have been completed this year, which was one of my main concerns, is that it's been going for 30 years, this particular one. So it's good to see that there's major progress being completed, and I look forward to them actually putting a shovel in the ground soon, hopefully. Thank you.
Councillor Antoine Hartley. Asked and answered.
No, it's been answered. I was just wondering if a 1994 date that it was started wasn't a typo. It's over
Nope.
30 years.
Nope.
Okay.
That is correct. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Road closure and sale request T09 2025-002, civic address 843 Elliott Lane. Just leave the roll number is there. Moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the Committee of the Whole recommends that Council approve the bylaw attached to this report as Exhibit A to stop up, close, and convey at fair market value the unopened road allowance located with Concession 9, Part Lot 6 and Lot 7, former Township of Rear of Leeds and Lansdowne, that the applicant provide a reference plan for the lands to be conveyed, prepared by a qualified surveyor at their expense, and that the applicant provide the township with a land appraisal for the property to determine the value of the land value as established in the appraisal, and any other costs incurred by the township to complete the land transaction are to be paid for by the applicant. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Next item, road closure and sale request, portion of road allowance located within concession 9, part lots 6 and 7, former township of Rear of Leeds and Lansdowne. Moved by Counselor Maybe, seconded by Counselor Antoine Hartley. The committee of the whole recommends that council approve the bylaw attached to this report as Exhibit A to stop up, close, and convey at fair market value a portion of the unopened road allowance located within concession 9, part lot 6 and lot 7, former township of Rear of Leeds and Lansdowne, and the applicant provide a reference plan of the lands to be conveyed, prepared by a qualified surveyor at their expense, that the applicant provide the township with a land appraisal for the property to determine the value of the land value as established in the appraisal, and any other costs incurred by the township to complete the land transaction are to be paid for by the applicant. Discussion on this motion. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. One of my questions was, why is it triangular? Because it seems like it's still in the middle of a road allowance. As the next one is, it actually attaches to that too, but still on the owner's property, it still looks like a triangular section of property. Do they own the rest of that property going, I think it's southeast kind of?
It's triangular because of the shape of the actual land. There's been land filled there, but it's technically Crown land. And so the survey that was done is identifying the as of right land that's land. The filled land beyond that is still Crown land, which is why it's that triangular shape.
Okay. Just seemed odd shaped
Yeah.
for this type of thing. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Nice. Next item is road closure and sale request, portion of unopened road allowance located within concession 9, part lot 6 and 7. Former township of Rear, Leeds and Lansdowne. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't duplicating. Moved by Councillor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fode. The committee of the whole recommends that council approve the bylaw attached to this report as Exhibit A, stop up, close, and convey at fair market value a portion of the unopened road allowance located within concession 9, part lots 6 and lot 7, former township of Rear of Leeds and Lansdowne, that the applicant provide a reference plan to the lands to be conveyed, prepared by a qualified surveyor at their expense, that the applicant provide the township with a land appraisal for the property to determine the value of the land value as established by the appraisal, and any other costs incurred by the township to complete the land transaction are to be paid for by the applicant. Discussion on the motion. Seeing no hands up, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. Next item, 13.13, tax adjustments received under sections 357 of the Municipal Act 2001. Motion comes from Deputy Mayor Fode, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that council approves the tax adjustment in accordance with section 357 of the Municipal Act 2001 in the amount of $483.46. Discussion on the motion? Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And through you, I'm just wondering if there's a little bit more background than the report actually gave us on this.
Mr. Treasurer?
Through you, Mayor. Yes, so this property had a fire. The main building has been torn down. So it was reassessed essentially without that main building on it. And this write-off reflects that change in assessment.
Okay, thank you. And a follow-up question, is there a house plan to be built back on that property to anybody's knowledge?
It is, through you, Mayor, it is my understanding that they are going to rebuild, but that's what we've been told. But
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, and call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Staff reports, there are none. Information items, it is Rail Safety Week. Motion comes from Councillor Maybe, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley. Bear with me, folks. Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 15th to 21st, 2025, whereas 261 rail crossing and trespassing incidents occurred in Canada in 2024, resulting in 68 avoidable fatalities and 58 avoidable serious injuries. Whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that rail right-of-way are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with railway highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the public, rail industry, governments, Indigenous communities, police services, and media and others to raise rail safety awareness. Whereas CN and Operation Lifesaver have requested Municipal Council to adopt this resolution in support of its ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of Leeds and the Thousand Islands supports the National Rail Safety Week to be held from September 15th to the 21st, 2025. Discussion on the motion. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe, and then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Again, like being a good neighbor to CN, I just wish that they may have been a better neighbor yet, and they need to improve their public relations a little bit with all of us. So I'm more than happy to be saying yes to this. I was going, what word am I going to use? It's still good. I'm glad to see it happening, but we need to have some more cooperation from CN to municipalities across the board. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Fode, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. It would be nice if CN read this before they enact some of their declarations to have such as beaver dams removed. Not all safety with CN is on top of the rail. We witnessed that not once but twice in this township, and I find this a little rich for asking us to do this. I know it's not just our municipality, but when I read through this, I thought, well, that's nice that I read through it, but it would be also nice if CN did the same. Thank you.
Any other comments? I might just add my own comment to this. This is about railway safety. And obviously none of us want to see anybody hurt at a railway crossing. To the points that have already been made, I think it's also rich that they're asking private landowners to pay for crossings when it comes to safety. So while this motion that is on the floor is in regards to preventing injury, and whether it be pedestrian or vehicles at railway crossings, I don't think there's anything in here any of us want to see happen. However, I might suggest that somebody around this horseshoe may want to make a motion, put forward a notice of motion at the October meeting outlining our concerns with CN's stance on other challenges that we see that actually directly relate back to this rail safety. Go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor Grau, and then Deputy Mayor.
I thought, I think through you, Your Worship, and thank you for those comments. I thought that we were read an information item that said that the CN was asking the federal government to change one of the sections of the Rail Act or whatever to help private landowners.
Well,
does anyone remember that?
I don't, they are trying to, but I think CN's stance still remains that they want to punt the obligation for private, like I'm thinking of the rail crossing near the railway station on Station Road. That is a private crossing for one house, and there's lots of folks that have farmland on the opposite side of rail tracks. It's a big concern, and it may be something that we need to think about when it comes to Roma, because I know there are other municipalities grappling with this. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole from the original motion, but all that to say that I think that there's more discussion to be had in regards to CN and how they treat their partners. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fode.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to our Director of Operations. I remember when I attended a Roma conference a year and a half ago, or thereabouts, I sat in on a presentation in Essex, Kent, over municipal drains was the primary discussion or conversation, but it involved railways, both drains underneath and other applications. and they at large were looking to go to court with the two lawyers at the front of the room that time, of which I gave your email as well as contact information. Do you know if that's ever proceeded? It was to be before the courts by, I believe, this November. I don't think it was last. I don't think they had enough time to accumulate all
We
that
can find
information.
out. We can make an inquiry with Roma and with Krista, who is the chair of Roma.
I know I've never received an email.
Okay, at the time in that room, there was two lawyers at the head of the room, and the chair was Robin Jones at the time.
Yeah.
So Robin sat through that.
We'll find out where that's at, because I think that's a good question to have as far as the further discussion later on down.
Yeah, they were encompassing, as I indicated, utilities at large, because they're running into the same thing with Bell and with,
Hydro.
fiber optic and such. Everybody's shunning their own obligations that they used to at one time uphold. Thank you.
So we're back to the main motion, which is in regards to Rail Safety Week. I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, it is still carried. Hold your nose. Anyway, sorry. That was out loud. Okay, so we're down to announcements or statements from councillors. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As mentioned, Terry Fox is this Sunday. I guess that is September 14th, isn't it? Yeah, it's amazing how fast that comes. Thousand Island Terry Fox is run out of Rockport Community Hall at 9 o'clock. I had one side note for the Director of Operations here. The grass cutting of the actual area there would be helpful. Last year it was not, and the weeds were a little long. So if there could be, just to ensure. Terry Fox Run again in Aqui starts at 10 o'clock at Town Hall. The Gans Art Festival is September 21st. They have an all weekend event happening. Again, the Turkey Fair, as everybody knows, September 20th. The Gan Chamber Gala for the September 25th. We got notice of that happening also at the casino. And the Gan Santa Claus Parade is going to be on November 29th. And I know I talked to the fire chief last week about the fire ban signs, but I was wondering if the actual stations could look after the signs in their area, and to make it a little bit more effective for having such things up, so that again our non-electronic connected people will actually see something that reminds them to keep the fires at bay. Thank you.
I have Councillor Kelman and then Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. I have two things. Council may recall there were two houses on the northeast edge of Lyndhurst that have been vacant for quite some time, and the smaller one experienced a fire last year. And I'm very happy to see that that structure is gone and the site completely cleaned up, because I am continually asked about those two properties, and they are two separate situations, but the smaller one is gone. So that's wonderful. And also I spent almost the entire weekend at the inaugural St. Lawrence Writers Festival in Brockville. And it was a tremendous success. So I just want to, in this venue, give kudos to the organizers. It was a volunteer committee. It was put together in 9 months. There were a lot of authors, some very big writers there. The turnout was spectacular, and the events were wonderful. And the head of the committee actually has a cottage property in Sealy's Bay and is local, Rod Carley. Many of you may know him or have heard of him or have met him. So kudos to him and all of his team. It was a really wonderful event. I'm sure it will be recurring next year.
Awesome. Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Through you, Chair. Thank you. This past week, there was a survey came out for the Sealy's Bay repurposing. And I'd like to thank Cindy Code for making sure that from the libraries and making sure that we had some paper copies for those residents who aren't comfortable or don't have access. And Turkey Fair is coming up, 20th. Yeah. So if you have a few minutes, they're always looking for volunteers. If you have a few minutes that day, please make contact. and offer your services. Truffle Shuffle will be coming around on the 20th of September from 10 o'clock and 10:30 for the kids. Just a reminder that our local legions can always use our support as they provide valuable supports for our veterans and the communities in large. Lyndhurst Legion Branch 504 is holding a spaghetti dinner after Turkey Fair. I'm not sure if it's going to be turkey spaghetti. I think it's just spaghetti. But anyways, from 4:30 to 7, and the proceeds will be going to the renovations they're making to their Veterans Lounge. And also, Celia's Bay Legion, Branch 491, is having family karaoke night. Who doesn't want to do that? From 2 to 6 on Sunday, September 28th, free for children, and admission for adults is a donation. So, and there's food available. So I think everybody should go out and sing.
I was just gonna say, are we going to vote or are we going to sing? Can we? Nah, wouldn't that be something? Any other announcements or statements from counselors? Okay, so as far as the mayor's update, most of the things that I had to add were already discussed. I will be there to help open the Turkey Fair on Saturday. Just for the public clarity, as of today, there was some confusion in regards to the work that's going to be happening on the Lyndhurst Bridge. I believe that we have sorted that out. It was a miscommunication from the county saying that work was starting prior to the Turkey Fair. The roads will not be closed, and we have addressed that issue. So thankfully, we were able to have that sorted very quickly. Other than that, this is busy week for me. I have Joint Services Committee of the Whole and Mapleview Lodge / George Thackeray Family Home. It's on the cusp. There is a visit tomorrow from the long-term care minister, which I'm very much looking forward to. Very much looking forward to seeing this long-term care facility become online, because we will be going from 60 beds to 192 beds, and we so desperately need these beds. Right now, there are people languishing in hospital waiting on those beds. And it's great to see that Sherwood Park Manor, that's also expanding, and it sounds like Carveth will also be expanding here in the near future. So very good news for our older residents who are waiting for those very, very much needed beds. And hopefully have some more announcements to make in the coming months. So we'll wait to see what that turns out to be. So with that, there's no closed session required at this point. So we're moving on to bylaws. So the motion comes forward from Councillor or Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Maybe, and third reading and final passage be granted to a bylaws. Which one is the amended one? Which one is the amended one?
This is the amended one to add those 3
No,
numbers.
I'm talking about this.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, amending bylaw 41 and 42. So this is third reading and final passage to be granted to the bylaws 2025-041 and 2025-042 as amended in the earlier discussions. 2025-043, 2025-044, 2025-045, 2025-046, and additional bylaws of 2025-047, which is 843 Elliott Lane, 2025-048, which is 800 Marble Rock Lane, Maple Rock Lane. Okay, I got it right. 2025-049, 802 Maple Rock Lane. So those were the road stoppages. Okay. Any discussion on those? It was a typo error. So they should have been in the list, but it's in the motions.
Yeah, the bylaw, they're attached to reports. They just aren't listed.
They aren't listed in the what have you. So. Okay, we just caught it before we put the motion on the floor. So it is on the floor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. And moved by Counselor Monique Antoine Hartley, seconded by Counselor Maybe, that 3 readings and final passage should be granted to bylaw 2025-047, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands at its September 8th, 2025 council meeting. Discussion on the motion. Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we're carried. And motion to adjourn, moved by Counselor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fode, that council adjourn at 8:01 PM. All those in favor? All those opposed? And we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.